So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the asset program, Environmental Science, Sustainable Energy and Technology. Here we go, which is located in Breda. Now, I think I should start with introducing myself a little bit. So hopefully it will navigate forward now. Here we go. In case you don't see me on the screen, I have my webcam on, but maybe you don't see my screen. But you see a picture here of me in our building. My name is Paul Sandman. I'm one of the lecturers at the asset program at the Environmental Science Department. We don't have actually, people that whose only job it is to simply to promote our program. We like to do that ourselves. And it gives a better and a more honest reflection of our program. And in addition, I can talk about, the courses that I teach, the things that I do, and you can also ask, like me as a lecturer, some questions you might have. Um, I'm not alone here today. I have two wonderful colleagues with me. I have Marion with me, who is a direct colleague of mine. I think she's turning on her screen right now. Yes, here we go. Hi, welcome, Marion. Thanks for joining us. And we have Giulia joining us as well, one of our students. Hi, Giulia. She's waving now as well. Now, if you have any questions during the presentation, feel free to put them in the chat. And then either me or Gulia or Marion could answer those questions. So feel free to ask questions during the presentation. Also, maybe you want to have a specific question relating to, like, okay, how studying in Breda, then probably Gulia will be better equipped to answer that question. But maybe you have a question, for example, relating to admission requirements, then Marion will be the best person to answer that question. But hopefully, with the three of us, we should be able to answer all questions you might have this evening. Um, Now, I should start with the presentation, otherwise we're going to run out of time, right? And the asset program in Breda is actually one of our smaller programs of our faculty. We have in total around 260 students, give or take. I think right now, I think there are one or two graduating, and then obviously, next year we're going to have many new students again. So obviously, it's always changing, but around 260 students, out of which right now 74 first-year students. That's a sort of a steady number that we have, and that's good. That allows us to fill up two classes with students every year from all over the world. Um, Now, before I go into, like, okay, a little bit, like, what is the program, for example, and what is studying in Breda like. Obviously, I should start with what is asset and what is environmental sciences, because you will be studying environmental sciences with us. Now, I like to start that with this very simple but very important and very well-known image. This is the image Earthrise had taken by one of the Apollo missions many, many years ago. And it was one of the first images that we took from outer space on that we took off Earth. And it shows us that this little sphere. I mean, it looks little, but it's obviously it's very big. But this little sphere is what we have. This is what we got. This is our, our home. This is our spaceship, because obviously we are moving through space. And we don't have anything else. We don't have a backup spaceship. We don't have another planet waiting for us, despite all those science fiction movies that we see recently. This is it. And if we don't take care of our spaceship, then we're going to be in trouble. And when I talk about we, or hold on, I should go back one step. It's not just the planet Earth that we consider relevant, but also the different elements on planet Earth. Whether it's an ecosystem like a desert or whether it's an ecosystem like a tropical rainforest, everything is important to us, all those different ecosystems. And then when I say us, I mean obviously humanity, because we are sort of, you know, we use a lot of the natural resources. We are one of the prime users of the natural space, up to an extent that we might be slowly starting to overuse our planet. We're drawing too many resources, we're throwing away too much waste or creating too much waste, and that's causing issues. Issues like pollution, issues like overfishing, issues like the greenhouse problem or climate change problem. And yeah, the bad thing about those issues is that eventually it will reflect back upon us. I mean, we are the one that creating it, but we're also going to be the one that is going to feel the effect of all of this. So what we need to do before it's too late is to find and use very innovative solutions to fix the problems that we are creating right now. Whether that is, installing renewable energy, whether that is finding a way to use bioplastics more and use less, traditional plastic, or whether it is simply to motivate people to not to drive by car, but to take, for example, a train. All of those measures should eventually, hopefully, allow us to live in balance with Earth. And that is exactly what asset is about, to make sure that we will eventually, as a society, live in balance with planet. I already have a question. Oh, great. Already have two questions here. Now, let's see. I think, Louisa, you should be, I think Marion can answer your question. Um,
I
and
will.
regarding, yeah, great. And
Yeah.
regarding Lena's question, yeah, why is ESSET a small program? I think that's a very good question. We would love our program to be very big, obviously, because it means that we have enough people caring for our planet and willing to fix it. I like to say it, our planet is ill, is sick, and we need more doctors to fix our planet. So definitely, I think we would like to see more environmental science students, and not just with our program, but also with other programs all around the world. Where they dedicate people to study, environmental sciences, because we do need more, environmental doctors. I think the issue is here is that a lot of people, don't know about, environmental sciences, that is even something you could study. Obviously, you know about the traditional programs like accountancy or law or medicine, which are all very relevant as well. Don't get me wrong, but those are the ones that a lot of people know about, and sadly enough, don't. And not a lot of people know about environmental science. That is even a program you can study. So I think that is the main reason why we are quite small, despite the fact that we've been reaching out to people all over the world to come study here. Um, so yeah, hopefully that answers your question a little bit. But feel free to reflect on this later on. This is something that's very dear to me, and I always like to talk about that topic. Why is that people don't study environmental sciences? But okay, now let's move on. Because I still have a lot of things to tell you. So, what is ESSET then? What is our program about? In a nutshell, it is a Bachelor of Science degree in Environmental Sciences. It is a full English language and international program. So it's English because we believe that it's a good advantage for you to study both or to be knowledgeable both in your own language, your native language, and also the English language. It gives you better career perspectives, and it allows you to work in an international setting. A lot of our students, when they graduate, they move to another country, not primarily their country where they're from, but they move to another country and they continue working or starting their career there. Um, and it's an international program because we know, and hopefully you realize that as well, is that environmental problems, they don't stop at borders. It's not as if in the Netherlands our water is less polluted than it is in Belgium. It's not as if we are responsible for climate change, but let's say United States isn't. Obviously, many environmental issues are international. So it requires an international scope. It requires international theories, concepts, and an international approach to fix all of this. So we're both English taught program, and we are an international program. Our roots are in the natural sciences and natural and technological sciences. We're not a management program. It's always good to mention because some students, when they start here, they got this idea that they're going to study political sciences or something like that. But no, the focus for us lies in natural and technological sciences, which is a good thing because many of the jobs that the world desperately needs are in that sector, are in the technological and natural sciences. That is where the most and the best jobs can be found. Nevertheless, we do have what we call an interdisciplinary approach. Because maybe later on we teach you, obviously, for example, how many solar panels do you need to install, or what kind of technology you need to implement, or how to analyze water quality and things like that. But suppose that you come with a great solution, but you have to convince people. If you don't know about, a little bit about legal matters, if you don't know about the management system, if you don't know how to communicate all of that, you're still going to be, ineffective. You're not going to be successful. So we focus on the natural and technological sciences. However, we do provide background knowledge and skills and competences also in terms of management, communication, policy, and law. So eventually you'll be sort of a hands-on person that can go in any different direction. Now, the next thing, very important, is that we focus and we start with and we end with competences. Um, Knowledge can be learned everywhere. You can open up a book, you can find it on Wikipedia, you can scroll and watch a lot of YouTube videos on knowledge about the world, about everything, right? But how to apply that knowledge, how to successfully do research, how to provide a successful advice to your client, how to develop something, those sort of things you cannot really learn from Wikipedia. So that is what we focus on first and foremost, is to build competences that allow you to become a successful applied scientist. But in addition, obviously, we're gonna provide you with a lot of knowledge about all these sort of different topics, and also what we call the body of skills, which focuses more on practical skills, like how to give a presentation, how to write a good report, things like that. And all of that together gives you great opportunities to kickstart your career as an advisor, as a consultant, as a researcher, because you have the competences. You master those competences. Um, Question from Lena already. Chemistry is indeed necessary, but that's something also I will discuss later on in the presentation. Um, but we'll touch upon that later. Last thing, obviously, is that all of this creates, what we call a practical program focused on smart and sustainable solutions, and not just research, but we apply the research, which is also, a difference between traditional research universities. We do obviously focus on research, but we want to apply that. So we offer like ways like internships and graduation project, but also regular project that you can really apply that knowledge. Now, moving on. So, what is the asset community? Well, we have students from all over the world. Obviously, Europe is quite popular. It's close by. But we have students from places like United States, from Mexico, from Canada, but also from India, from Thailand or Indonesia. Students from all over the world come to Breda, the Netherlands, to study environmental sciences. And we're very proud of that because it creates a really nice international community. Now, something we're also proud of is the fact that we have been rated, our program has been rated as the best environmental science bachelor program for, I think, now 7 years in a row of the Netherlands. So obviously, you should choose a program based on its content. You should choose a program based on the atmosphere, on what it has to offer, everything. You shouldn't just choose a program only on a sort of a ranking or things like that. But yeah, it is good to have. It does show, and it gives us sort of recognition for our hard work. It shows that we, deliver something that experts, independent experts, but also our students believe in, and that we get rated for in a very positive way. So it's very good to have this award, not just for our program, but also for Avans in general. Avans University Applied Sciences has been rated as the best large university applied science in the Netherlands for quite a few consecutive years as well. Once again, something that we're very proud of, but it shouldn't be the sole reason why you should choose for us. But it's still good to have. Now, just like any other, good university or university applied sciences, we have good student facilities. So we have our Explora, which is sort of a multimedia center. And we have state-of-the-art laboratories, sponsored sports facilities. I'm also a member there. I really like the sport there. We have student support, training, honor classes, things like that, but also research groups. And those are important for us as well because we collaborate quite closely with some of the research group, especially on the topics of bio-based economy, bio-based energy, and bio-based products. And we have collaboration also with universities, for example, in Brazil, regarding this topic. But we have a lot of companies that we collaborate with, and that sometimes provides internship opportunities or graduation project opportunities. And it brings, applied research is very close to what we do. So it's very good to have this. Now, something about year 1 and year 2. Year 1 is what we call the propedeutic phase. It's sort of the first year of your study. And just like as the second year, it is comprised out of 4 blocks of 10 weeks each, so 40 weeks in total. Now, obviously, there's going to be a lot of going on in the first year, and I'll explain some of that in my next few slides. But what is important here to mention is that by the end of that year, if you have your 60 credits, you have finished sort of the propedeutic phase. You have completed the first phase of your studies. And that's a sort of important sort of, but it's a sort of it's a mark of significance that you finish the first year and then you continue for the next 3 years, which is actually what we call the bachelor phase. Now, something else that I would like to mention here is that we believe in a variety of both educational activities on the one hand, but also a variety of assessments. It's not as if later on when you work for a company is that they're going to ask you like, okay, do this multiple choice thing and then our client will be happy. No, obviously not. We don't believe in just doing multiple choice tests to see if you actually gained the knowledge and how you can use the competences. No, we teach through different methods like interactive classes, debates, group work, project work, field work, computer classes, different teaching methods, and we assess all of that with different methods as well. So maybe one time you have to sort of you do an oral assessment. You simulate a meeting with a client, and then you have to answer questions that your clients are going to ask you, like real life. They're sitting in front of you. Or you have to write a report, or you have to make a video of what you did, or you have to make like a professional poster and explain then to the audience what you did. So there are different ways how we're going to assess how you're performing, because eventually later on in your career, that's exactly what is expected of you as well. Now, year 1 overview. It's probably very small on your screen. Not to worry. I will, at the end of my presentation, I'll provide you with a link to our current program, and then you can see all the 4 years in one sort of neat little sheet, and then you can zoom in on all those different aspects. Obviously, I don't have the time to discuss all of this anyway here right now. I just want to mention a few things. One of the things that I want to mention is that the first year you have projects. Every quarter there's a project. Every quarter there's one theme that we're going to focus on. In addition to that, you have different courses, which compromise like knowledge, skills, but also competence. And then you have the trainings, which are more practical. You really focus a lot on doing exercises, group work, things like that. And then you have practicals, which will be in our laboratory. There will be some lab work involved in our program, not that much, but still, we do expect you to be capable of to hand yourself in a laboratory, for example, to do water quality measurements, for example. And then we have professional skills and coaching, which is on the one hand electives. I think someone just asked a question about those electives. In addition to that, we have the personal and professional coaching. I just want to highlight that last part a little bit. When you start with us, you get assigned to one of your teachers. That teacher is going to be your coach for the 4 years or 5 years or 6 years that you're going to study with us, or 3 years, by the way. So you always have a coach or like a teacher to fall back on, to question, to ask questions, to discuss like learning objectives, to discuss, homework strategies, to discuss internship opportunities, high graduation projects, or what to do after. So he or she is sort of your lifeline, something you can rely on throughout those 4 years. And that is very good to have, because you always have someone that you can ask questions about. Okay, now move on a little bit. So as I said, year one is propedeutic phase, like sort of the first part of your program, and then the next 3 years are going to be the main phase, the bachelor program. We like to call it the main phase, and we start that already a little bit with eventually making a choice between two study tracks. Um, Very important to realize is that 90% or 95% of the program will be the same. It doesn't matter which study track you choose. However, we did notice that both our students, but also the companies that we collaborate with, or the companies that eventually hire our students, they said, well, sometimes we want a student that's a little bit better in this field, or we want a student that's a little bit better in that field. So we decided to make two different tracks. Study track one would be sustainable energy and resource recovery, and study track two will be water management, ecosystem, and climate change. You could argue that the first one is a little bit gray and the second one is a little bit green, although, obviously it's not that black and white. But they do have their different topics and their different focus. Um, but as I said, most of the program is the same. So don't worry about like, oh, well, God, I have to make a choice and I might just miss some pieces of knowledge or competences. Most of the things that you're learning are still going to be the same. I think that's shown here as well. Um, because you can see here that for year two, everything is the same except for the project that you're going to do in the second semester. So there you choose between a project that relates more to the first track, or you do a project that relates more to the second track. Now, as I said, in general, as year one and year two, they follow sort of the same layout. We have projects, we have different courses. I might have maybe I went over projects very quickly, but projects are a very important part of our program, because in projects we sort of put you to the test or to the challenge. We simply put a environmental problem on your plate, and we expect you together with your fellow students, like a group of fellow students, to fix that problem. Obviously, we're going to guide you through that. So you have a tutor that's going to help you. You have workshops, you have theoretical classes and everything. But eventually, it's your task to come up with a solution. Because that's exactly what you have to do later on in your life. When you have a career somewhere at a consultancy firm or working for a big company, you'll be working with many different other people from different fields, working on one of the many environmental problems that we're facing, and you should be able to collaborate with others on those issues. Otherwise, as a person alone, you probably won't be able to fix it. So you need to work with others. Now, as I said further, like you have lab practicals, you have the personal development, and you have the elective credits, which are simply credits you can fill them up with things you like to do. So if you want to study Spanish, for example, or you want to maybe improve your Dutch or help out with some of the research that we're doing, we usually have an elective for that. Now, maybe good to realize is that we also offer a 3-year short track program, or we should call it a fast track program, but yeah, more commonly speaking, we call it the short track program. Some of you can follow the 3-year program. Very important, not all of you, and most students end up following the 4-year program, which is also an advantage. You won't miss anything. But there are some students, for example, students that have an international Burkhardt diploma. It usually means that they did an extra year of high school education, so they already have some knowledge that we would otherwise provide in the first year, they already have that. So they're allowed to skip some of the courses in the first year, merge them together with courses in the second year, eventually meaning that you're going to do your first and your second year together. And then the third and the fourth year is going to be the same, but the first and the second year are sort of um, lumped together, and you only spend 1 year on following some course. It will mean that you're going to miss some elements. So it's a choice you would have to discuss with us if you're eligible for this. So hey, obviously check your eligibility. You can contact us if you're eligible or not. You can find more information about this also on our website. Generally speaking, if you have an IB diploma, for example, International Burkhardt diploma, then this would apply to you. But always discuss with us first to check whether or not maybe you don't even want it, or maybe you want to do the 4-year program, even though you would be eligible for the 3-year program. Discuss it with us. We're very open about those sort of things. So now, then year 3 and year 4. So there we go. So should be now. Oh, I missed. Oh, hold on. Yeah, there we go. There was it. No. Get back. Get back. Sometimes my PowerPoint moves too slowly and then moves too quick again. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Okay, so year 3 and year 4 are slightly different. We don't have like projects in the regular sense and courses like that anymore. At least not throughout the whole year 3 and year 4. You start year 3 with an internship. Then you come back to Avans for one of our 2 semester programs, which relates to those tracks that I discussed earlier. Then year 4, the last year, you're going to start with doing a minor, which can be one of our minors, or it can be a minor somewhere else. And then you finish the last part, graduation project. And if you finish your graduation project, you're done. So let's explain those a little bit in detail. So as I said, you start with an internship, which is your first half year that you're going to work for a company, an organization, an institute on a topic that you like, on an environmental problem that you consider interesting. You are in the lead to that. Obviously, we can help you find a position. We always have a lot of companies contacting us with various positions, but you are encouraged to find your own position, and that delivers some great internship. You know, I had students studying or doing internship in Spain, in Germany, in Mexico, in Costa Rica, uh, um, in Hungary, in Estonia. They go all over the place to work for a company, for an organization, to do research about a specific topic. And, sometimes I really get jealous of what our students end up doing for their internship. And then they come back here for the studies track specific semester programs for either resource recovery, sustainable energy and resource recovery, or water management, climate change, and ecology. Or hold on, water management, ecology, and climate change. Here you go. And you get courses and projects specific to those 2 tracks. Interestingly enough, here you will get real clients. So we don't simulate clients anymore. They're going to be real companies that we'll collaborate with and have a problem that you need to fix. So it's a really great experience for you, because you'll be learning how to work with clients that have real issues and that you need to fix. You already had a taste of that during your internship, but now you have to fix that within the advanced school setting. Now, then the minor, which can be one of our minors, but it could also be a minor abroad or at one of our partner universities, either in the Netherlands or, as I said, abroad. We have many partners in Germany and Finland, Spain. Let's see, where else? Hungary. I think we have around 15 countries or so. So we have partners all over the world where you could do your minor program, or you could simply stay in the Netherlands and do your minor program at our university or at one of our partner universities here in the Netherlands. And then after you've done your minor, you do your graduation project, which is the last step before you graduate. And it resembles, to a certain extent, it resembles the internship. So once again, you work for a company, you work for an organization or an institute on a specific topic. But you are really in the driving seat here. You have to take responsibility more than that you did with the internship. You have to be more critical. You have to be more assertive. And if you are capable of that, then you graduate and you get our Bachelor of Science degree diploma. And also you get the sort of the Dutch engineering degree sort of annotation. Now, some examples. Looking at the time, I won't explain these. I just want to highlight that obviously your career starts already at Avans. When you graduate, you already have 1 year working experience. You're not necessarily speaking a junior anymore. You can already. A lot of the students actually eventually end up working for the company that they did your graduation project for. But even if that doesn't happen, you already have 1 year of working experience, which is very, very valuable when you're going to kickstart your career. In the folder that I'm going to share with you in 15 minutes, I will provide a list, or it includes like a nice list and description of some of the internship and graduation projects that our students have done in the past. I definitely recommend you to check that list because it shows you a little bit what kind of research that our students end up doing. Okay, something about ambience and atmosphere. Now, as I said, Avans has been rated as the best large University of Applied Sciences for quite a few years now. Obviously, that is partly due to our good ambience. So we offer small-scale education. A lot of our work happens in small groups, and we don't like big classrooms. I think the biggest classroom that we have in our faculty can seat 48 students. But most of the time we work in smaller groups. Also in the laboratory, obviously you work in small groups, but the projects it's in small groups. And obviously when you meet with your PPD coach, it's a one-on-one basis. Um, and that obviously relates to some of the other elements that are mentioned here. For example, attention to your personal development. We know all of our students, and all of our students know us. So it's a very, very good atmosphere within our faculty and within our program. Now, and obviously, as with many universities, we have nice little canteens, lunch rooms. We have a garden for a terrace. We have a garden, obviously, but we also have a terrace with a nice view. You can also drink, and we have our own Starbucks cafe and things like that. So obviously, we're well equipped as a university. Now, city of Breda. Breda city is relatively speaking a small city, at least for Dutch standards or internationally speaking. I think there are around 250 or 200,000 inhabitants, give or take. And it's a very nice city. It's a very historical city. It's one of the key and oldest cities in the Netherlands. Has a very nice historical feel to it. A very nice historical center. And it's also a student city. There are actually 2 University of Applied Sciences in the Breda, and we also have the military learning center in our city. So there are a lot of young people there, a lot of parties as a result. But it's a very nice and good place to hang out, and it's very close to other places like Antwerp, Brussels, Rotterdam, or Amsterdam. We also have our own students association, Essence. So they organize some great activities throughout the year: bowling, picnic, a movie evening. So definitely feel free to join them. You'll definitely meet them also when you start with us. Yeah, they organize some great activities. So good to join these for sure. Now, is asset for you? Yeah, that's always a question that obviously I think. And the fact that you're already here, listen to this presentation, interested in this presentation, already shows you you're motivated, you're interested, and you probably care about the environment. So maybe this is not even necessary for me to explain this slide, but I do think it does show some elements that we are known for in our program. On the one hand, for example, it's mentioned, are you curious? Because we offer many different different tracks. We offer different sort of topics. How we allow you to go abroad for your internship, for your minor. So how you have a sort of a curious mind, because we offer a lot of steps in that direction. You are open-minded because we have an international program with many students from all over the world. You will meet many students with different cultures. So it's good to be open-minded about those. You are adventurous, yes, because you will go abroad. Students go everywhere, all around the world, from Seychelles to Costa Rica to China for their minor, for their graduation project or their internship. So, yeah, we expect or assume you're going to be very adventurous here. A critical thinker, and we are a challenging program. It takes a lot of dedication to finish our program. But by the end, you will be very good at things like critical thinking. Really good research skills. You will be able to question logic about elements. Because let's be honest, environmental problems are not that easy to fix. I mean, if they were easy to fix, we wouldn't be, studying environmental science or running this program. Environmental problems are, generally speaking, very complex. So you need to have a very critical thinking attitude in order to say to solve them, and obviously a team player, because later on in your career you need to collaborate with many others to fix environmental problems. So we're going to put some emphasis on that as well here. Now, in what way are we different than some of the other programs out there? There are not that many English taught environmental programs in Europe, but there are a few of them. Now, some things that simply we're known for, well, we are internationally oriented, even for, obviously for an international and English speaking program, we are internationally oriented. I mean, you could still be an English taught program, but then focus mostly on domestic issues and things like that. But no, we are traditionally speaking internationally oriented. We are naturally science based, on not management or communication sciences. We focus on the natural sciences. We start with a broad knowledge base, so you can sort of get a lot of knowledge about a lot of different topics, and eventually you're allowed to sort of make your own specialism. So you're both generalist, but you're also a specialist in some fields, which really helps you to either kickstart your career or continue studying. Because yes, eventually that's also an opportunity. Now, what kind of career opportunities? The list is endless. There are a lot of different career opportunities out there, whether you want to be a renewable energy consultant, maybe policy officer working working for a municipality, or you're going to be checking water quality, or maybe a lab research assistant, thing like that. There are many, many different jobs out there that our students are qualified for. So yeah, I think let's see. I think that the internship and graduation overview that I'll share with you in a moment, I think that offers some great sort of directions, although these are internships and graduation project, but it does show you a little bit of kind of direction that our students eventually go into also for their career. Oh, I have to hurry up a little bit, I see. Or you could simply continue studying. There are some great opportunities to simply go for a master's degree. We don't offer a master's degree ourselves, but we have some great collaboration with other universities in the Netherlands and abroad. And getting a diploma from us gives some great opportunities to go for a master's degree elsewhere. So a lot of students actually go into a master's degree afterwards, and then you have the best of both worlds. You have already a lot of working experience, you already have a year working experience, a lot of practical knowledge, a lot of practical know-how, but still you go for this master, for this deepening of knowledge. So you have the best of both worlds as a result. Now, some practical info, very briefly, very quickly. So, generally speaking, you should have a general high school diploma with chemistry, math, and English. And then you can enter in year one, and you follow the regular 4-year program. Now, as I said, if you have like a university level diploma, like an IB, the International Work Diploma, then you could start in year 2, like you do this short track program. But as I said, I think out of the 70 students that we get every year, around 10 students follow that. So for most students follow the regular program. And also there you should have chemistry, math, and English in your high school diploma. So it should be a course that course that you did all the way through the end, and that you've also graduated with. Biology and physics, good to have them, recommended, but not necessary. It is good if you have them, but it's not required. Now, obviously, contact us if you have doubts about this. So if you're not sure if your level of chemistry is good enough, you're not sure if you did the correct math in order to start with us, simply contact us and we can help you. Sometimes it might take a bit of time because sometimes we need to check it with the Dutch authorities who do a lot of checking of how the international diplomas, how they validated. So sometimes it might take a while. So that's why we also suggest start early. But we always try to get back to you regarding your questions on admissions. Or feel free to ask them now because our admission officer is here as well. English is important. Just as with any other university in the Netherlands, they all have the same requirement that you should have a sort of a proof of your English capacity, which translates to that you have a certain result with one of those tests that you can do, like an ELTS test, a TOEFL test, a Cambridge test. You should have some proof that you did those and you sort of succeeded in those, and you have to show us that proof. So if you're already committed to you want to study with us, take into consideration as well, because sometimes it takes some time for you to get a placement in this test and to prepare, obviously, but also to do the test and maybe you need to do it again. It takes time. So we recommend you, like if you're sure about studying with us, which would be great, then make sure you start on time with checking for your English requirement. Very important. We have some exceptions. Obviously, if your prior education was taught in English, then you can enroll in our program without this proof. Or your native language is English, maybe you're from the United Kingdom or you're from the United States, then obviously that is the proof. That's all the proof that we need. Or your high school diploma shows that you are capable of have a certain level of English that also meets our requirement. We have a list of those diplomas on our website. That list is the same for all the universities in the Netherlands. So even if you don't apply with us, but you apply somewhere else, they're going to use the same requirements and they're going to use the same list of validated diplomas. So they include, for example, the German Abiturprüfung, the Danish Studentenrekensam, or the Flemish third degree exam. All of those, if you did English in any of those, then that qualifies as proof that your English language capabilities are in order. You can check our website for the details on this, and for the details on well, what's then the exception list that we call it. Now, obviously, housing, start on time. The Netherlands can be quite crowded, so start your housing hunt on time. Also, obviously, be careful. Don't simply accept for a room without seeing it. Don't provide a prepayment without actually seeing the room. We have some great. Good validated and good websites. We can help you with that. We also offer housing, so then obviously that can be trusted, so that's fine. Go with that, or simply search for yourself, but then obviously don't simply fall for anything. If it's too good, it's probably too good and it's risky. But in general, if you start on time, you should have no trouble finding a room, but definitely start on time, like a couple of months in advance. Now, and a side job. Obviously, we know that many students struggle with finances. So what we try to do in our program is the Friday is free. We don't teach anything on Friday. it still means that you in your you need to make your 40 hours a week studying, etc. So you might have to study on Saturday, on Sunday, but it does allow you, if you want to get a side job, it does allow you to also work on Friday. So maybe you can like work on Friday and Saturday because maybe your job wants that, and then you could study on Sunday. So this way we allow our students to better combine studying with a side job. Obviously, still, as studying comes first, don't forget, but it does give you more opportunities to get a side job. Oh, I should hurry up. Okay, but that's good. These are my last slides. So obviously, if you're interested, well, you were here this evening, so that's already something. But if you are more curious about our program, we do offer some, for example, orientation webinars. Not just a webinar like this, but also a webinar sort of where you can like actually attend a class. And obviously, you can check our website. You can contact us as well. You can contact some of our students. Maybe you want to talk with a student from a specific nationality. Feel free to let us know in the chat, and then we could maybe check if we can bring you in contact with one of our students. Or you can find us on Instagram. We have our own English Instagram channel, which is @Avans. So if you check that, you can find us there. Or you can check us on Facebook. We have facebook.com/Avans. Or we even have our own blog website with students sharing their experiences and their stories, which is @Avans.nl. And then obviously, here we go. We have our email address here as well, which is asset.atgm@avans.nl. So you can also use that email address if you want to contact the assets in the environmental science department. If you have a question about general, like studying in general, like how to study in the Netherlands or getting your finance in order, then we recommend you to simply contact the international office, which you can also find here, international office @avans.nl. And I think that I'll just leave this slide open because then you can copy the email addresses. And I will now go and find the link for the documents that I promised you. Maybe yeah, we're already some of you might want to go to the next presentation already, but maybe some of you want to stick around. Maybe Gulia, because obviously you're one of our students. Maybe you want to introduce yourself a little bit and maybe explain. Can you say something about, for example, the current project that you're doing?
Hi, yes. So I'm in the second year, and we're doing a project about zero emissions. So we're working on a leather factory, and our challenge is to make this factory energy neutral, as well as closing the water loop and closing the waste loop, because these are the main challenges industries face at the moment. And it's a very exciting project. And we also got to go to a leather factory and see all the processes. And now we're in the process of making calculations on how to reduce the energy consumption, find new techniques on how to reduce the water consumption, as well as the waste. So it's a very interesting project.
Thank you very much for attending this evening, and we hope to see you back for real in Breda after the summer. Thank you, and bye-bye.